Hi, it's Wednesday, August 28th, and this is today's video on Typhoon Shanshan. As is always the case in these videos, the thought expression are just mine, and if you're going to make any decisions ahead of the storm, look to the Japan Meteorological Agency for the best information local to you. So we've got an unfortunately very serious situation unfolding today in Japan with Typhoon Shanshan very slowly moving through some of the southern Japanese islands. Now, the system has intensified as well quite a bit. You can see that we have a very formidable eye wall with those more orange and red colors surrounding this sort of donut shape in the center of your screen. And this is a very strong eye wall, which some satellite estimates have had some suggestions of winds up to 145 miles per hour, 125 knots on comparison there, making this what could be easily a very strong typhoon, with the equivalent of a Category 4 hurricane on the Saffir-Simpson scale. Now, the system right now, luckily over the night, did not really keep that eye wall over much land. You can see that it kind of sat out here between some of the islands. We have some islands here and some other islands here. So we were kind of in between these islands all night when it actually did reach that peak intensity. Now, it's unclear exactly how strong, say, the system may be right now. Right now, satellite estimates are coming down a bit because we are getting some more impact of shear. But right now, I'd say it's still a very strong typhoon. And unfortunately, we're moving further north and northwest, closer to some of these islands. And we could be looking at a very strong impact wind-wise from this storm as we go throughout the morning hours. Now, if we look at infrared imagery, in fact, I'll go to visible imagery as well, just to show you how the storm is doing right now. If we look at the general picture of it, we do see some issues compared to earlier. Now, go back to infrared to show this. You can see that we had very circular eye during the overnight hours. In fact, if I go back to this infrared, you can see it even better. Very circular eye. But if we go to now, it's much more ragged. And the CDO, so that's what the thunderstorm surrounding the eye is called, the central dense overcast, that's becoming less symmetric as well. You can see it was very well formed, very symmetric during the middle of the night, but now we're more asymmetric. We've got less convection overall here on the western side, and the system is becoming a little lopsided. You can see if we draw where the eye is and where the CDO is, it's a little bit more weighted to the east compared to the west. Now, this is likely an impact of westerly shear that's coming into the scene. We have a trough here over Korea, and this is bringing an increase of westerly shear right to the system. You can sort of see that in a couple of different ways. You can see we have some thunderstorms that formed west of the storm. Those tops are getting sheared off toward the south and east, towards the storm. But also, if you look at the upper level of clouds, this upper level cirrus shield is getting blocked from going further west. It's pretty much cannot get past this point because of this westerly or northwesterly shear. And this is likely now getting to impact the inner core. If we look at radar imagery again, you can see that now, at least on the current radar, which I'll go to the latest frame, we have the western eye wall open compared to what it should look like. You can see on the eastern end with those reds and purples, it's completely open on this radar frame. So this is likely showing that that shear is now directly impacting this eye, and it's now likely stopped its intensification. Now, exactly how much weakening are we getting from this point on? That's a little more unclear. Usually in this type of scenario, you would get gradual weakening. So you can still have very strong winds on the eastern side. You can see where we still have some of these purple colorings. Those are indicating still very strong thunderstorms within that eye wall, and that could still easily have very strong winds if it does come over land. Now, the good news is here, the way the storm is approaching some of these islands is coming from the south and east, and it might keep the this eye wall away from some of these islands here. I'll zoom out so you can get some perspective of where we are exactly. Maybe I can get some opacity changes as well. I don't know if I can do that, but you can see that this is mainland Japan up here, and here's these islands that it's approaching right now. I'm not completely sure of the names. It's kind of hard to read them on this map right now, but you can see that if it approaches from the southeast, we're keeping that eastern eye wall offshore of those islands. Now, I can't say the same for the islands further north. We may get this eastern eye wall, but the good thing is you have more time between now and when that could occur, and that allows more time for the shear to potentially disrupt the rest of the eye rather than just taking out the western end of the eye wall. Now, regardless, we're going to have a lot of heavy rainfall here. You can see already well further north of here, we've got these heavy showers in here bringing some heavy rainfall, and we've have this very large shield of rain coming north with the storm. Now, this is going to be a very serious situation as we go through the next several days, as this trough is not forecast to, unlike a few days ago, we had thought, it's not likely to pull the system and rush it out of here to the northeast. Unfortunately, the positioning of this trough has been changing a lot over the past few days, and that allowed the storm to get further west than forecast. So when we talked about the storm last, the storm was expected to come, say, about this far west and then recurve. Now we're way back here, south of even South Korea. We're to that longitude of eastern South Korea now, at least for part of the storm. And now this is in a less optimal position to be carried out by this trough. The trough axis itself is likely somewhere over eastern Korea or the Sea of Japan. You can see that on the GFS. If we go to the initial frame, here's that trough axis entering the Sea of Japan. And right now what we've got is we've got an upper high as well over China, which is bringing that northwesterly flow, which is likely causing that shear, impacting the storm. And this is having a more negative effect track-wise, as this is trying to, instead of have it go northeast with this trough, this is trying to force it back south. So we end up with a storm just stalling out here. And you can see that this trough is moving pretty fast too. This is by Thursday. This trough is now lifting out and it's leaving the storm behind. And now we're just stalled here over southern Japan. Now, there is a bit of uncertainty on exactly when the storm is going to get out. There will be another trough coming in. You can see this is by Saturday. Another trough digs in on the model. Now, here, it's a bit more uncertain as well if this will actually pick it up or leave it behind again. You can see that we have this channel out to the northeast, but we also have a lot of northwesterly flow on the backside of this trough. And this trough as well is moving pretty fast. And on the model, at least on this run, we end up with that trough not catching it. And we're still here. I mean, this is by Sunday, 5 days out, and we're stuck. And you can see this happens again if we go out to near 7 days. Trough digs in, we still get this northwesterly flow. You get the picture, the storm's stuck here for what could be a week. Now, there are differing model solutions. Like I said, we've had some models try and show that the system could sneak northeast with some of these troughs, and that's still a possibility. But even if we get the storm out of here with the second trough, it's Wednesday now. You're talking about the storm getting out of here Saturday at its earliest. That's several days of heavy rainfall, and we could be looking at a lot of flooding issues as a result of this. You can see this is a GFS ensemble mean precipitation forecast for the next 7 days. So the GFS ensemble has 31 members, 31 different runs of the GFS, and this is the average rainfall total out of all those runs. And you can see we have very significant totals over a wide region, what could be 200, 300 millimeters of rainfall, in some areas even 400, 500 millimeters of rainfall. And the GFS is not alone in this. The European, which has more members, this has, I believe, 51 members. So that's 51 different runs averaged out. And we still have this large area of 200, 300 or more millimeters of rainfall dropping over a large region of southern Japan. And even though the storm will likely weaken here because of the land interaction and upwelling, as it does stall here, the rainfall impacts will come regardless. And this could be a disaster for some areas, especially if we get some very high rainfall totals. We've had some model runs even exceeding 500 millimeters of rainfall. So it's very important that even though, say we're not looking at what could be a I wouldn't say not going to be a major when it comes in. It could still absolutely be that, but say it weakens coming into mainland Japan. Sure, that is decreased from the forecast that we had a few days ago, but still we're looking at a significant impact rain-wise. And it's still very important that you're prepared for this. Now, I'll leave links to the Japan Meteorological Agency in the description so you can get to their website, see in the news what they're putting out, and see their forecast for the storm. And I'm sure they'll have some information as well on how to prepare ahead of the storm. I'll have more videos as we go throughout the rest of this week on the storm as it progresses. And hopefully we can get the system out sooner than later. But we could be preparing here for a multi-day, perhaps over a week, of Shanshan being around here in Japan. That's all that I've got for today. There's nothing really else going on in the tropics. No real threat to Hawaii from Gilma, and the Atlantic is very quiet here overall as we close out the month of August. But again, stay safe in Japan, and I'll have, like I said, more videos as we go throughout the rest of this week. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.